Hello there, welcome back to Table Space. This is Dylan, and this is Table Space, all place for all things tabletop gaming. Happy to make another video tonight. This continuing my painting of my Grave Guard, or Barrow Guard as they're now called, for my Soulblight army. I actually have a 2v2 Path to Glory game coming up this Sunday. It's going to be the sort of finale for the Path to Glory, and I'm pretty excited. You know, it's not often that I do get to play a game of Warhammer these days. Just busy with my kids and stuff. I just don't have the time to devote 4 hours plus to playing a game. If I do play a game, it's typically a few of my friends who are in our local group come over to my house. We set some tables up. I have a bunch of terrain that I've either purchased over the years or 3D printed, and we kind of duke it out. But for the most part, I don't really play as much as I paint. It's definitely easier for me to get back here and start to paint some things than it is for me to go out to a store and, like I said, spend time away from my kids just because they're so young. My daughter, she'll be 6 in October. My son will be 2 in December. And I know with time I'll be more readily available, maybe to go out into a store and play. Could take the kids with me or something. I know a few of my friends that play do that, but for now I'm just going to enjoy playing when I can, and other than that, just going to keep painting my army. So I love painting anyway more than I do playing. I'm not the best player, that's definitely for sure. But painting, it gets me hyped up to play. So we'll see how this goes. One of our biggest fears whenever I had my daughter was, and my biggest fears, I guess, still to this day, there's just changed slightly, but my biggest fear is what I call disappearing, just not being able to do much of anything, just kind of being in the shadows, not having the opportunity to hang out with friends and family, just being too busy for life. And it turns out that that fear has not become a reality. I mean, sure, I don't have as much opportunity to play games as much as I would. Of course, video games are always an option, but I don't know about you guys watching, but video games have lost favor with me over the years. I basically grew up, playing video games: Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, N64, Xbox 360, and then PC pretty much then on after. But nowadays, I don't know, even the remakes and re-releases of games that we played back in the day, like I know they're working on another Halo 1 remaster, and it's just like, man, yeah, my nostalgia is wanting to play it, but I just feel like there's always a catch these days with re-releases and things. It's not just, it can't just be the game. It has to be microtransactions or battle passes or whatever. So I find myself enjoying tabletop more and more, just because I have more control over the game itself. I buy the game and it's mine. I don't have to worry about a patch, or if I don't like the rules, we can just change the rules and do our own thing. So, and I'm sure eventually things will turn around, and Battlefield 6 seems to be getting a lot of attention. I haven't played it. I'm sure it's great. It definitely looks like it's a return to form, so hoping that that's the case. But we'll see. So tabletop gaming is kind of my mainstay now, especially D&D. Once I got into D&D and role-playing games, that really kind of shot me in that direction. And D&D is one of those games. It's I don't know if I want to say there's no other game like it. I mean, there's definitely other role-playing games, but there's that whole genre. It's interesting to me how it opens up so many other avenues for other hobbies, like, for example, painting. I started running games. I became a dungeon master, and eventually I had an idea for a dragon, like I said in the previous video. And I bought the dragon model, and I learned how to paint. And then I wanted to up my game. I wanted to add, terrain and different things like that, furniture. And I didn't own HeroQuest at the time. And so I got into 3D printing and started, 3D printing terrain. And I wanted to write better stories, so I studied how to, the structure of a story, the 3 acts, and etc. And it's just one of those things where it just kind of leads into more and more and more things. I mean, even making videos too. That's where the initial spark of wanting to make content and provide entertainment for the interwebs came from as well. And it's morphed over the years for sure. My initial idea was doing like Dungeon Master advice, and I don't really think that's feasible these days. That's a whole topic in and of itself. The whole. I don't know if infrastructure is the right word, but everything that's going on ever since the OGL crisis, I feel like everyone is kind of going off into their own little camp in terms of role-playing games, whether it be D&D, you just stick it out with Wizards of the Coast, or whether it be Matt Colville or Matt Mercer or Cobalt Press or Shadow Dark. Everyone seems to be kind of going off in their own little direction, which is cool. I think having just one game that everybody talks about is not necessarily healthy for a genre or for an umbrella of entertainment. But at the same time, Warhammer is kind of the same thing with wargaming. Everyone talks about Warhammer most often than not, and if you go into a game store, if you're looking to play a game, it's more likely going to be 40K or Age of Sigmar. But who knows what that'll look like in the next few years, with Games Workshop definitely pushing to be more of a mainstream market company, and the whole Amazon thing, and they're changing their logo. Looks like they're trying to sell their company, trying to spruce it up. Curious to see what will happen with that. But in the meantime, I'll keep, painting and playing games and just trying to have fun along the way. And I know that kind of went in sort of a tangent here, but kind of coming back to what I was speaking about earlier about disappearing, it definitely was a valid concern of mine, but I'm glad to see that I haven't disappeared. I'm still here, and now it does take effort now. It's not as simple as it was when I was just married, or when I was just engaged or single even. It just takes more time. I have to, check a couple more schedules and maybe plan a little bit further ahead than I usually would have to. It's not as much drop and go as I was before, but that's okay. Life changes and we change with it. And I think what I miss the most right now is my role-playing games. So I was running 3 campaigns simultaneously with 3 different groups for the most part, all in the shared world. Each campaign had the potential to impact each other, but the games never really got to a state where each campaign was impacting each other on like a really dramatic level. The idea was there and the world was open for that, but it just never happened in a way that I think everyone was sort of expecting. But not to say that everyone didn't have fun, and groups were kind of taking shots at each other over text and things about what's going on and how they were the first to do this or how they screwed up that. But after we had my son, we were the first in each group to have a kid. So my wife and I had a kid, and in the long-running campaign I have, there's a couple in that group, and they had their firstborn. And then in another group that I run in that has more players. I think it was like 7 or 8 players. they had a kid as well. And then in my third group, which was still running after all the kid stuff, they recently had to move away. Now we are planning to try to pick that game up off the ground again. We'll try to figure out some sort of Zoom or Skype or something and just put an iPad at the table. But we just, been busy, and playing online is definitely not my favorite style to play. And I'm not saying I'm not willing to give it a try, because they're my friends and I care about them. And say what you want about D&D or role-playing games, but I do feel like the friendships that you build are some of the strongest that you can ever create. Just because you go on adventures together and you achieve awesome goals and you have these interpersonal stories that really doesn't make sense to anyone else other than the people present at the table. I think even if you would watch like Critical Role, I still feel like, sure, you saw it happen, but I don't know, you didn't quote unquote do it. And I miss those games. I really do. And we talk about, even with my other groups now, our kids are a little bit older, still definitely young, but old enough where we can have a sitter come and watch them. And we talk about, getting together and playing and looking at dates, but for one reason or another, it just never works out. People get busy, or just kind of forget, or one thing will just lead to another, and we just don't have the time to get together. And that's okay. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm not mad at my kids. I'm not upset with my friends. I just able to zoom out and see the bigger picture, and to see that this is a stage in life where we're just busy and we have to give more of our time to people other than ourselves, and that's okay. And while the doors to D&D and all the time we had to play have closed temporarily, hopefully, we'll see, other doors have opened. I opened up a business, Table Space, and I didn't really talk about my business too much in the last episode. I'm sure I'll probably have an episode where that's all I'll talk about, but Table Space is a business I made where I commission paint for people and also do some 3D printing as well. I don't have a website or anything like that. I'm just doing local commissions. I had an Etsy store many years ago. It was fun, but it was so much work, and I'm just not at a place where I can take that workload just with my kids being so small. I think once they get a little bit older, I'm going to start venturing out more, but I'm just kind of enjoying the process of learning how to run a business and all the paperwork and background stuff that goes with that. And over time, I think I'll slowly start to expand and kind of see what happens and kind of grow from there. But it's been fun. Table Space is something that I don't necessarily need to schedule around four or five other schedules. It's just around me and the customers that I interact with and do business with. So definitely easier to manage in that sense. And I'm also able to paint more, and so I'm able to, hopefully build my painting skill. That's one of my main goals in doing the business. And just able to meet new people and network and provide service. That's one thing that I enjoy doing. I think being a dungeon master, you can probably already figure out that I like to, entertain other people, and I like to serve other people too. And Table Space is one way of doing that. And who knows, maybe I could get the opportunity to play more games, because I need to get myself out there and see what else is out there. So yeah, the opportunities always arise, and when one thing goes away, it's good to keep in mind that something else is around the corner, and if it's an opportunity you think you should take, then go ahead and take it and see what happens. Yeah, these Barrel Guard are looking pretty good. I cannot wait to get on the table and see how these guys perform. I have some Grave Guard that I bought, and I'm probably going to use them as Death Rattle skeletons just because I really enjoyed the paint job. I'll have to pull them out next video to show you. I did some freehanding on their banners that I really, really like, and I'm hoping I can mimic or do something similar to the banners on these guys. I feel like the old one, the banner was a little bit bigger. I know this one's technically, I guess, bigger, but it was just more of a one piece of canvas to kind of paint on. So we'll see what happens. Man, and then, you know, speaking of war games, have you guys tried out Halo Flashpoint? Man, that game is freaking awesome. I don't know any other games from Mantic. I know they have Dead Zone and I think Firefight. I haven't played them, but from what I understand, Halo Flashpoint is sort of a lessened or the same but different compared to Dead Zone. But man, that game is so much fun. I hope that I can use it to get some of my friends to try out war games, because a lot of my friends played. We all played Halo growing up, and you know, Warhammer is what they heard of and would like to gravitate towards. But I just feel like Halo Flashpoint, the game itself, is much simpler to teach and doesn't really have much buy-in, because the intro box for Halo is like $50. It comes with, you know, enough Spartans to play a game right out of the box. It's got terrain right in the box. It's got everything you need. And I don't know if you can see in the video, but I'm starting to paint a little fire team over here. Do a little red and blue action. And yeah, it's just really cool. And it makes me think, like, you know, Warhammer's cool, but man, like, they're really having some other games starting to sprout up and really have some competition. And I'm excited to see what all they do with it. I mean, the Halo ODST drop, the announcement that they dropped a few days ago, that looks freaking badass. And then you got Helldivers doing their little ODST thing too. Man, is Halo making a comeback? I don't know. I kind of hope so, but we'll see. All right, let's get this here. Some edge highlighting. My goal with these Graveguard is to get them painted. Hopefully by the end of the week. We play the game Sunday, and I don't like to play with unpainted models. I have a Vampire Lord on Steed that I won't have time to paint, so I'm hoping that that's my only completely unpainted model. But what I'm trying to focus on with these Graveguard is actually their purple cloth here. I just want to practice getting better at texturing like a cloth kind of linen look with the little stippling and hash marks and that kind of thing, just to give it the effect that it's just wavy cloth-like material. And it's kind of a piece of painting advice for those of you that paint and want to look at improving your workflow or your paint jobs. Just pick one thing and just focus on that one thing for the whole project. Like, for example, the Graveguard. I'm kind of cutting corners on the armor. It's just some dry brush gold and just painted on with some Vallejo rust color. Just thin it down and just literally just coat the whole thing as if it was a wash. Because I'm just trying to get a quick rusty looking effect, and so I can move on to what I really want to focus on, which is the purple clothy stuff. And I don't really care how the model looks per se. I mean, yeah, I want it to look good, but in terms of the armor and the swords and all that, I don't really care if it's like edge highlighted and it has non-metallic metal or has different things like that. Now, I am going to go probably all out on the banners, because banners are actually my favorite thing to paint on armies. And unfortunately, I played Tyranids in 40k, so I don't really have much banner action there. But Soul Blight, I mean, the Blood Knights are awesome, and they have that huge canvas of a banner. And then these guys too. And even the regular skeletons, they got a small one, but hey, we can work with it. So let's see, get a couple little lines and hash marks. That's one thing too, trying to figure out the lighting and actually to imagine it, like where would the raised edges of this cloth be if it was actually, you know, a little bit more sculpted. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep plowing through these Let's see how much I can get done tonight before I either gets too late or I just start falling asleep painting, which yes, I have done on more than one occasion. But I do appreciate all of your time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, morning, whatever it is, and we'll be in touch soon. If there's a topic that you guys would like me to talk about, please leave a comment below. If you want me to inquire about anything else you heard in this video, please let me know in the comment below, and I'll get back to you in the next video too. And if you like what you're seeing here, if I'm helping time go by while you're doing your hobbying or your drive to work or whatever it is, I'd appreciate a subscribe and a like and a comment. Let me know what I'm doing and how I can do better to help better serve you guys. So until next time, peace out.